Welcome back, friends, to Singer Dad Reacts. My name is Josh, and I'm here to do another reaction of Diana Ankudinova. The overwhelming suggestion that I saw out there was to react to Me Voy, Spanish for I leave, based on what I can see for the translation. Let's get started here. And by the way, if you haven't already, if you could please click on subscribe and click on the notifications so that you can be made aware of any new Diana Ankudinova reactions and other reactions that you may be interested in. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Quiero olvidar el mar de tu cuerpo. Quiero olvidar el sabor de tus labios. Quiero tener por una vez una vida feliz. Por eso me voy. Gracias por todo lo que me diste.
Wow. She's 13. That's crazy. She's an old soul. She's really an old soul. I can kind of relate to that because I was placed in a situation at a young age where I was kind of I had to grow up a little bit, too soon. With some of the things that happened, and forced to take on a lot, at a young age, and deal with a lot of things, but probably not to her degree or anywhere close to that, but yeah, she's an old soul. You can tell that she is a deep thinker, and she really, it reminds me of Dimash in a way, because and I think I mentioned this in one of my comments about I was interacting with someone on the comment section regarding Dimash, and how I can kind of relate in some ways to him, because I was singing when I was 2 years old. Like when I was first talking, I was singing, and I loved music from day one, and was always listening to performances and singing. And my mom put me up in front of people performing when I was like 4 years old, and I've been performing since a very early age, and I think that it's a fulfilling part of who I am, and when it's not there, there's something missing. And I can tell that it's the same for her, where she just really loves it. She loves to kind of basically take the song and really bring it to life, which at her age is a very mature way of approaching a song, right? When you're 13, a lot of kids are just like, they just want to sound good, or impress the audience, or something like that, right? They're not really thinking about the words and what it means to them, and how they can communicate that story or that message, or the message of those lyrics to the audience. So it takes another level of maturity, and so she's amazing to be at that level at this early an age, and especially in another language. I mean, her Spanish of all the languages is probably the one I'm most familiar with, because I took 15 credits of Spanish in college, like a summer course where it was immersive. So it was like several hours a day where I was, in a classroom setting, working on Spanish. So that's the one of all of them that I'm the most familiar with as far as how to pronounce it and kind of speak it, right? Poquito. But her Spanish sounds really right on to me. And others of you that are Spanish is your first language can weigh in on that, but it sounds really good to me. Let me go back a little bit here.
Gracias por todo lo que viniste. Gracias, gracias por amarme. Pero no tengo ilusión que tú eres mi razón, por eso me voy.
Back there a little bit. She definitely starts to feel it. She's, yeah. There's like a pleading in her voice, like this like heart-wrenching type of feeling that comes through in her portrayal of this song, and when she sings those words. You can tell that it's like there's a deep meaning to her. And like I said, I'm wondering if what she's thinking about is what I talked about, right? Where this whole kind of saying farewell and goodbye is kind of her way of looking back on the early part of her life and saying goodbye to that and the pain and all the stuff that was a part of that, and kind of moving on and having that closure. And because if you've dealt with stuff like that in your life, it's not something where it just happens like boom and then okay, yeah, I'm moving on and I can leave that behind and I'm good, right? It takes time. It takes time and a lot of love, which it sounds like she has been getting with her adoptive mother, I believe. And so, but yeah, she's still probably dealing with that, and I'm sure that that's part of what comes through here in the way she thinks about the song. So let's. Her tone is. Must be their family right there. Wow. Yeah, and I think I mentioned this before, right? When you as a performer, as a singer, start to really feel something, when you're singing a song and it starts to really hit you in an emotional way, it's hard sometimes to rein that in and really deliver the emotion without allowing that to escape through, right? You have to find that balance. And I remember, if any of you have watched the Javert Suicide that I uploaded, so that was closing night, and I remember performing, and I got to the part where he's kind of like, he's come to the end, and he's, you know, getting ready to fall off the bridge or whatever. If you've listened to that and you hear kind of my voice breaks during one of the notes and it's because I was feeling it. I was really feeling it. And it was coming through, and because I was really trying to reach out for what Javert would have been thinking. And so the emotion kind of snuck in and came through. Unfortunately, it didn't come through in a way that detracted from the song. But sometimes it's a hard balance, right? It's to allow that emotion to come through in a way that's powerful but not detracting. And I think she did a good job of reining it in there at the end, or you could tell she was kind of feeling it. And then at the very last phrase, she brought it in and had beautiful tones there at the very end. Again, I have to kind of remind myself she's 13 years old, right? Kind of like with Angelina, right? It's like these kids, they're just beyond their years as far as their confidence on stage, their ability, their stylistic choices, their uniqueness. Both she and Angelina are similar that way, where they're both very unique. And they both have very unique voices and styles, and I think where Deanna's got a lot there is that she performs well in several different languages. And I think that's where, having kind of worked with people from different countries before in my high-tech career, that's one thing I have noticed, and I have good friends that are European, is that people from other parts of the world typically are much more lingual than those of us in the United States, right? It's not uncommon for people from other countries to speak 3-4 languages fairly fluently, right? So I think that's where the rest of the world kind of has a leg up on us as far as their willingness to expand and learn other languages and things like that. But anyway, yeah, so that was interesting. And again, it was like it wasn't home video quality, but they did a good job with like different camera angles and stuff like that. I do videoing on the side. That's one of the things I do as a side thing. But I put videos together and stuff for the school and things like that. But so I know what they're dealing with, and they did a good job of kind of tying it all together. And there had to have been a lot of editing and things like that, but they did a good job of bringing it all through and kind of going in close when they needed to. And so it was well done. But thank you for recommending that. If you have other recommendations for Deanna, if you could let me know in the comments. I am gathering a list, as I mentioned, I think in one of my previous reactions. I'm starting to kind of copy and paste into documents. When you guys are listing off, do this one, here's the YouTube link, da-da-da. I'm copying that out and pasting it in a doc that's specifically for that artist. And then I can go back in there and pull up the right links and the song suggestions and all that. So I'm starting to kind of get all that organized, and it's making it easier for me. But thank you again for all your support. If you haven't already, if you could please subscribe, and take care.